All right, today is Monday, Labor Day, September the 6th. Out here to check the 10 hives at the house. I was down here Saturday night and checked most of them. I got these 4 here, and then these 4 back here have already been checked. These 2 are full of bees, but are really light. The 2 over there, I think one of those has a feeder in it and one doesn't, but they're fairly heavy. Trying to get both of those filled up to overwinter doubles, and then of course I got feeders in here trying to feed these 2. I got a reducer on that one, as it was kind of a late season split, but they've done really good. They just don't have a lot of stores. They've got a lot of I don't know if you can see it. They've got a lot of pollen going in. Let me clean this lens real quick. There's a bunch of really bright yellow pollen going in. There was a bunch of bees with it. Of course, now that I'm trying to find them, I don't see any going in with it. They're pretty busy, but I've got a couple buzzing me too, so I don't know. They usually don't buzz you when it's this pretty out and there's a lot coming in. It might still be a little bit wet. We've had a lot of rain, so it might still be a little bit wet for them. But these 2 are just loaded with bees. Just bees galore, just not a lot of stores. And they're bringing pollen in, so I'm not too worried about feeding any pollen patties right now, but I am going to feed some sugar syrup. We'll get in there and see how much sugar syrup is left just from Saturday. It's surprising always to me how fast they take that sugar syrup down. Let's go over here and check out these. These are a little bigger hives. They're in double deeps for overwintering. I was out here this morning and there was seemed like every other bee had pollen on it. Now I'm not seeing too much. There went one there. It was in kind of quick. There went one there. They're really going in fast. There's one there. It just went in. I don't know if you can see that or not. But we'll check. We'll check these first. I'm going to do some mite washes today and check for mites to see if I need to treat. Got my stuff ready for that. I think I've got my measuring cups inside there. Half cup of bees will be about 300, and we'll do a mite check on these 2. I've checked a couple of these hives already and found really any mites, so I was pretty happy about that. Let me open a couple up and we'll see if they've got any or how much water they've got left from just 2 days ago. I don't have my daggum jug down here. And here's the hive that I fed Saturday. See how much they've taken. It's probably pretty hungry. Yeah, they've taken just about all that down. I don't know if you can see down in there or not, but about all that's gone. So we'll go ahead and fill them back up real quick. I think I left a jug down here. Let me go up and get a jug. All right, this is my feeding system I use for small hives. I just got a bucket with a valve on it. Keep my sugar water in here. Somebody said he gets out of breath a lot on them videos. Hey, this stuff ain't light. I had to bring down another bucket of sugar water because I know this one's about out. So, and especially since that one's about gone, I know these are going to need to be refilled. It's amazing how fast that they take this sugar water down. See if I can get you back over here. You can see the bees all down in there. They'll come up when I get this sugar water on them. I keep 2 floater sticks in here that they can sit on and drink. So I'm not too worried about them drowning. They can climb up on those floater sticks. Yeah, it was completely empty in 2 days. All right, now it's filled back up. And you can see how many bees are in there. Gotta help them out and they get all feisty. Just to give you an idea of how many bees are in this hive. Hopefully you can see that. Might have to get some gloves on. All right, it's another gallon on 9.6. So I marked that on the hive. 9.6. Keep track of how many gallons we give them. These are here at the house. They're a whole lot easier to fill up. The ones at the property, it's harder to get out there and keep them full. These I know I can keep pretty full. And get over and check this other one, see how much it's got. One of the ways you can tell if there's something wrong with the hive is that they're not taking the sugar syrup. I got you where you can see. If you put sugar syrup on there and they're not taking it, it could be enough of a dearth where they're not interested in the sugar water. They're getting the nectar out of flowers and they'd rather get that than sugar water. Or it could be a sign that there's something wrong with the hive. One of the quickest ways to know is they won't take sugar water and they won't take pollen patties if there's something wrong, even if there's a lot of bees in there. There's a hive beetle. Give him the hive tool test. He did not survive the hive tool test. I've only seen a few hive beetles here and there, just a couple, maybe a couple in each hive, or in different hives. But I've not seen any more than a couple in any one hive. Yeah, this is the same way. Their feeder is empty too. The sun's shining in this one, I can see it, so I can tell it's completely empty. 2 days, drank a gallon of water, sugar water, in 2 days. I got a little bit on my hand, now my dang hand's sticky. See if I can stick it in this little creek back here and wash it off maybe. I love messing with bees and extracting honey, but I hate being sticky. It's not any fun. This is starting to empty out. That whole top was full of water from where it rained. I feed this and then we'll have to add some more to our bucket. All right, it's full up. It's got our floaters in there, so bees got something to float on. That water kind of washed the sticky off of me. So these bees are good. 9.6, 1 gallon. And that feeder's over here. This feeder was on that side. kind of marked where you can just slide the lid over. The entrance or the division board feeders are handy. They hold a gallon, so they hold a lot. They're inside the hive, so I don't have to put an extra hive body or anything on top of them, like you would a top feeder. And then I don't have to take anything off. I want to go into the hive, so I like them pretty well. A lot of people is using those gallon bucket top feeders right now, just on a hoe on like an inner cover or migratory cover. So I may go to that, but for now I got a bunch of these division board feeders that I think I'm gonna stick to. All right, I need to fill my bucket back up. Turn you over in here where you can see. It's so bright out here, it's hard to see that camera and what's being shown and what's not. I've been getting my sugar at Walmart. I think it's $11 and something a bag. I bought 3 25-pound bags the other day, and it was $33. Which seems like a lot at the time, but it's really not that much. You figure, one super off a hive is 2.5 gallons. So 2.5 gallons, what honey's selling for? Sells for $25 a quart. That's $250 for a super. So $33 will feed several hives. You can put quite a bit of feed in here for what you're going to get off the honey if you have good, healthy hives. But it's got good, healthy bees in those 2 hives. Bees are healthy. There's just not a lot of stores, so even though it costs a little bit to get them filled up and heavy, it's nothing compared to what the honey will sell for if they make honey next year. Dead hive ain't gonna make you nothing. So we'll get them filled up good. Overwinter them in a single. The here in Kentucky, I know it's different everywhere. Here in Kentucky, I know that you got to know in beekeeping the last frost date in the spring, which is around Derby Day or May 10th. There's first Saturday in May is Derby Day. Somewhere around there, it's good to know. And then the last frost is usually October 15th. So that's kind of the deadline I use. Have my stuff done. I want the entrance reducers on by October 15th, and the nectar's gonna stop coming in. So after October the 15th or after the first frost, I'll try to go ahead and start feeding 2 to 1 then if they need feed, and go on and get them heavy after that, because they're not going to bring in much nectar. They'll bring in a little, but not much nectar after October the 15th here in Kentucky, so or at least where I'm at. So that's the go. That's what I'm looking at as far as the deadline. Try not to strain too hard. Let's see, fed 1 gallon, so this one's got a feeder in it too. I'm gonna go ahead and feed. Let's see if I can get you on the feeder. I'm gonna go ahead and fill this back up, because I know this hive here needs has got a feeder in it. I don't think this one over here does. This is a little bit thicker syrup. This is I put a 25-gallon bag of sugar in a bucket of water. If I have a gallon bucket of water, I done overflow that again. So, and now I've been watering it down a little bit. I'm putting some water, extra water in it. So that last batch was a little bit, let me get that sticky off of me. That last batch was a little thinner than this. This is a little thicker. It's not really you don't have to be too precise on it. The main thing is to get them fed, but a lot of people get pretty picky on 1 to 1 or 1.3 to 1 or 2 to 1 or whatever. This is probably a little closer actually to 1 to 1, I'd imagine. We'll mark on this one what side the feeder's on the right side, and it's empty too. I can see the sun shining down in it. It's completely empty in 2 days, so they're really taking it. I guess we had about 3 empty frames. I got 9 frames with this feeder in here. The feeder takes the place of 1 frame. So it's got 9 frames, and I think 3 of them were empty. So I didn't take the top. You could take the top. If it wasn't much in the top, you could take the top box off and overwinter in the bottom. But since there were 6 that had honey in them, I'm just going to try to let them go ahead and see if they'll fill up those other 3. And let them go through the winter on that. Keep getting that sugar water on me. We got plenty of water. Alright, I'm going to cover this other bucket up so they don't start robbing out of it too bad. I'll take it up to the house. Let them rob it out up there. You don't want them robbing too close to the house because they'll start robbing each other out. If they realize somebody's got honey that they can steal, they'll start robbing each other out pretty quick. Alright, so I got these feeders. I may have had one in this hive. See if I can get you where you can see it. Yeah, the green top. I think I might have fed that one too. Let's see what it says. Yeah, fed 1 gallon, so it's got a feeder in it too. So we'll open it up and fill that one up too. Smoke, I had a bag of hay from cousin's barn. I went in there and snuck out when he wasn't looking. I just put it in a trash bag. I've been using it all summer. I used it all up. Now I'm using some of the dead grass. We let the grass get kind of tall before we mowed it. Using it, and it's a little bit green, so it doesn't burn quite as good. There's the feeder over here, and again it's empty. The bees are already finding. They're getting something right now. But it's not a lot because they're finding this sugar water way too quick. I'm gonna go rinse my jug off in the creek. Keep grabbing the jug, and the jug's sticky. Alright, got that taken care of. So we won't be in here too long. We just got 2 hives to check. They start robbing too much, and we won't stay open very long because I don't want them robbing each other out. You can really tell how thick this is when it pours. It pours like a syrup instead of like a liquid. It's hard to tell how full your bucket is until you start running it over. Alright, there's another 2 days worth of syrup. That's 1 gallon. I think I already did a mite check on these maybe. I'm reading on the top cover. I got a queen excluder on these, and the brood hatched out above the queen excluder. Yeah, this was a combine. I combined another hive on top of this one, and they about got the top filled up. I might let them go ahead and just fill it up, and then take that queen excluder out. But you could extract that honey if you wanted to, if they had enough in the bottom, but we'll see. I don't want to take any of their stuff that they need to survive the winter on, so we'll see how that goes. We'll let them go a little bit. But she can't lay up in the top, she can only lay in the bottom. So they'll hopefully fill all that up with the sugar water. Well, you couldn't, I take it back, you couldn't extract it now because we put sugar water in there. But any of them that you didn't put sugar water in, I know these 3 supers are full, and I'm debating now about whether not to take that honey or to leave it on there for them in the wintertime. That they haven't been fed any sugar water, that's all honey. They filled it up late in July. We usually have a dearth starting in July, and they filled that up probably the second week of July, so I put another super on them, and they didn't touch the other super on that I had on top of those. I pulled it off yesterday and they were completely empty, but these are still full. So a lot of times they'll come up there and eat the honey out of those honey supers during a dearth. So they haven't, so they had enough in the bottom to eat. I would imagine the bottom don't have a lot in it because the top does. So we'll see how much they get in the next, we got what, 6 weeks before the first frost, so we'll see how they do in the next 6 weeks. Haven't seen much signs of mites. Like I say, I think I'm gonna check these other 2 hives if they don't start robbing, but not too worried about. This is the first year for most of these hives, and a lot of times what'll happen, you see new beekeepers do it a lot, their first year everything goes pretty smooth. They don't have enough brood to really get a good mite count up, and they think they got it whipped, and in their second year they got big old booming hives with a lot of brood, and the mites wipe them out. So I'm not overly concerned about the mites, but yet I want to keep a check on them because I've had a bunch of hives that's been killed by mites. So I've kind of made my mind up. My beekeeping philosophy this time around is that my hives might die during the wintertime, and a lot of people's do, but I'm not going to let them die from either starvation or mites. So that's my philosophy I'm going with. They might die, they might not make it, but they're not going to die from starvation, and they're not going to die from mites if I can help it. So probably the third thing after that would be the queens. And there's just a lot of variation in queens. Most of these are swarm queens, virgin queens from this year, but yet swarm queens. And some of them will turn out to be great, and some of them will turn out to be not so great. Some of them already have because I've combined them. But we'll see how it goes. Make sure I'm still recording. Alright, this is the hive that I want to check. I think I've got y'all centered up there. Hopefully do a mite count on. We'll see how it goes. I'm assuming it's got 2 honey supers on the top and a deep on the bottom with a screen bottom board. I'm pretty sure it's going to be like the other 3 there with the supers. The top super will be empty and the next super down will be full, and then with the brood under that. So just going by the other hive, so we'll see what happens. I think I'm gonna get my gloves on for this because we're going pretty deep. Let me check my notes, make sure I ain't already checking for mites. Bottom super was full on 6/25. 17, July 17th, no eggs. 7/24 has eggs and larva, super half full. They may have requeened herself. On August 1st, super was full, has brood in a super, needs another super. Added a super on August 5th, and then the 13th. First super full, second is foundation, so it's probably still empty, I'm sure. A lot of times when you got empty frames on the top, they'll stick those frames to the bottom of the inner cover, and it'll raise up. You got to pry them each off of it. They start getting a lot of propolis. That's all propolis they've stuck and trying to stick things together with. And that's still foundation, so we're going to take it off. Let's smoke that next one before we pull this one off of them. This, I'm pretty sure, is going to be a super full of honey that we can either extract or we can leave it for them. It was dark. I took a frame in Saturday to the wife and kids, and the kids liked it. The wife didn't like it. Said it tasted smoky. All right, hopefully y'all can see that. It's still got some brood that's hatching out. And I see eggs up here too. So she's using it for part of the brood nest. So we'll leave this one together. This one will stay, whatever they fill up will stay in there with her. I don't usually like to do that with the supers, but I kind of ran out of deeps this year. So I put this super, I extracted the honey out of it and then put this super upon there. So next year they'll fill the top up and work their way down, have a small brood nest in the bottom, and then they'll start eating the honey at the end of the year in the spring. They'll all be up in this super, which kind of makes it hard to use it for a honey super again. But that's where they'll be. So it'll have a bottom. This bottom deep they'll empty out. So their brood will be up here in this honey super, and then I'll probably put another deep and try and get them back in the deeps for next year. It looks pretty good. She's got a lot of eggs on there. I don't think she's on this frame. We could probably take our sample off of one of these frames because she's got eggs in this one. Let's see if we can get one with eggs and larvae. Maybe take a sample off of it. But it looks pretty good. I mean, other than just having brood in a honey super, looks like the queen's doing a pretty good job. They're putting that fresh pollen, that yellow pollen in there. Hopefully you can see it. I never can tell. I can't see the picture on the camera to see what y'all are seeing. But they're getting the pollen put back in, full of eggs. They're raising the winter bees. Winter bees are sometimes called fat bees, and they'll live a lot longer. They have to live and make it through the winter. So their makeup is a little different than your summer bees, and they only last about 3 weeks. Still don't see a queen. I see a lot of eggs, but no larvae. I want to find a frame that's got some larvae on it for a sample. That good. Got a ton of bees in here. Happy with the amount of bees. They got plenty of bees to go out and collect the fall crop. Bottom box is completely full. This frame is completely full of nectar and with some pollen mixed in. So it looks really good. I don't see any signs of sick mites. Don't see any signs of deformed wing virus. Oh, there's some green. It almost looks green. Like green honey. I don't know if y'all can see that. The shades are kind of in the way. Bright pollen. Huh. Alright, so it goes to honey over on this side. Bees are pretty calm. A little more calm than the two behind us. This one's got cat brood on it. Just want to check and see that everything's there. Plenty of bees, plenty of honey. You want to see pollen, you want to see nectar. Nectar slash honey will be on the outsides of the frames, and that's the case here. All those inside frames have got brood on them. This is all honey. It's a full frame of honey right there. Not sure which one to use for a mite check. I hate to go down in that bottom if I don't have to. They're gonna start getting irritated here if I don't do something. A little smoke, calm them down. I'm gonna go on and use this one for my mite check. My half cup ready. Get my easy check ready. Just shake them off in here and then dip a half cup out. Now I just want to shake these. Also shake them for 1 minute. Like I say, I haven't been finding hardly any mites, maybe 1 or 2. This is the most I found in any hive out of 300, so that's less than 1%. I think 1% is the threshold. So if I find over 3, then I need to treat 3 or less. No treatment required. Uh-oh. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Looks like I might have to treat. One, 2, 3, 4. 4 for sure. I don't know if y'all can see that or not. The sun's so bright I can't see what you all are seeing. I know you're looking at the bottom of that cup, but I don't know if you can see them mites in there or not. But they're kind of oval shaped. And I counted 5 the first time. And then I counted 4 the second time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, I definitely need to treat. That's surprising. All right. So I'm gonna go up. I've got Apivar, so I'm gonna go up and get the Apivar and put 2 strips in there before I close them back up, I think. All right, I got my Apivar strips, so I'm gonna go ahead and get I think it's 1 strip for every 5 frames of brood. I got them sealed up in a Ziploc bag. I got my rubber gloves on. So I'm gonna put 2 strips in here. And I'm gonna put them right in the middle of the brood nest. Get my smoke. So I'm gonna put them down in the deep and leave it at top. I think it'll be good enough. Even though there's a little brood up in the top, I don't think there'll be more than 5 in the bottom, so I think it'll be good. Put one there, and we'll put one over here. Put that one right there. So we should be good to go. This hive is treated. And we'll go ahead and check this other hive and see what they got. The last note I got on it, see if I can get y'all over here where you can see. Still recording. The last note I got on it said there was lots of pollen, not enough honey, and some bald brood. So we'll see how they're doing now. I'll try to leave these gloves on to see how they work. Not quite as many bees in the top. See what they got up here. You can tell they're adding some nectar. They got some dark nectar going on. They built drone cells, some up here. I only got 9 frames in a honey super, so you can pull them out of the middle pretty easy without rolling bees. Made several of those cells into drone cells, which doesn't really matter. They'll hold honey just as well. I don't see any brood up here. I'll pull that one off. Y'all can still see. I see some leftover cat brood. Stand up where I can see. I see eggs. I see a bunch of eggs where she's filling in where the brood is hatching out. See some dark bees. They're kind of runny. A little bit runny. I just squashed one. A little more smoke. See a bee down there with pollen. Frames are really light. I see larvae. A lot of milk brood in here. No sign of the queen. This would probably be a good one for a mite check here. I think there'd be enough on here for a... I see a bunch of cat brood on that next frame. So I know I got a queen and they're doing pretty good. They're a little bit light. I'm going to check these for mites and see what I find. Need a way to strain out this alcohol. I know about how many it had, so we'll go from there. Get my 2 cup ready. Let me bring y'all over here. Make sure it's still recording. Yep. All right, one more look for the queen. I don't see her. You see a drone in there. Most of the drones have been kicked out already, so I'm surprised to see that. One, two, three, four. Let's see 4 on that count. Which they were in there from before. Need a little strainer, a little fine strainer to strain this alcohol through, just to strain the mites out. Just see what I can find. To make a little funnel, I think, paint funnel or something at Lowe's, I could probably use that. One, two, three. Still only see just a few. One, two, three. So I'm not getting any more mites than what I had before, so I'm gonna say that hive's okay. So I'm not gonna treat it. And I'm gonna show it as 0 mites. Frame went all the way down before, it is now. They've got some honey up in the top, which I'd probably leave them. I could take that top super off and then add a feeder. They really kind of need to be fed, but I might wait and see what kind of nectar these bring in. There's a lot of bees. And they're doing pretty good, and this does have some weight to it. So I'm gonna leave them like this. My inner cover. So 9-6. Might count 0. Super 1/4 full. Needs weight. So I got time. We still got our 6 weeks that I can add some feed in there if I need to. So I'm not too overly concerned about it. I will leave it like that right now. I was kind of thinking all these mite counts were going to be the same. I know a lot of the bigger guys, they just check a few hives in one yard. But they don't beekeep like we smaller guys do. We can check every hive if we want to. So now I'm kind of worried about my other hives and to see if I need to get in there and put mite strips in them. That's another reason I hate to have honey supers on as brood chambers, because you treat with them on, and that comb will have the residual treatment from that mite treatment in there. If you don't ever use a honey super for a brood chamber, you don't ever have to worry about having residual effects of the whatever you might put in to treat for your mites. So, but I've just treated that one and it's got a honey super, so I can't use that honey super now with that treatment in there. Not sure what to do about the other 3. I don't know. If I do find mites, I can't. If I'm gonna pull those, I'd like to pull those 3 honey supers off. But if I find mites, I'd have to pull it off, pull the honey super off, and then treat, which I could do that. I might check those. Mark Queen White added 2 frames from number 3. Swap places with number 3. 9 frames, needs second high body. Added pollen patty, looks good on the 17th of July. Super 1/4 full on the 24th of July. So this one hasn't been checked. So I might check this one for mites just to see what they've got. All right, I think my battery's about to run out. We're still running. I think I'm gonna go ahead and turn this off. I think I'm gonna check the other 3 down there for mites and just see how many they've got. See if I need to treat. If I do need to treat, I'll pull those honey supers off and then go ahead and treat those. But it's pretty much the same thing as this, and mite wash it in alcohol for a minute and see what happens. I might try to run up there and get something to strain those mites out so I can get a little more accurate count too. So, but anyways, getting hives ready for winter. Still got some to do, but like I say, I got till October 15th to get it done. I'll get the reducers on by then, start feeding 2 to 1 if they need it by then. Make sure they all got queens. So they're a whole lot of beekeeping is just making sure that the hives are where you want them, when you want them there. You know, in the spring, you know, if you let them get too much too quick, they'll swarm. So there's a certain place all year long, you know, that you want your hives to be. A certain amount of frames you want filled. In the wintertime, you want to get them reduced back down. So you're always looking for a magic spot, and it just comes from experience. I don't know. It's hard to tell people, and you'd like to have a answer for everybody when they ask something, but you know, you kind of got to know by experience and where your hives need to be at a certain time of the year. But the one we just looked at is in really good shape with no mite, so you know that's where I want that hive at this time of the year. And the other one over here, of course, we found mites in it, but the bees look fine, the brood looks fine, all that looks fine. We just got to get rid of those mites. So 8 mites is too many for 300. What would that be? 20 something percent. So that's way too high. So we got our strips in that one. So trying to get all the hives in a kind of equal spot. Make sure they got plenty of weight, or you're getting plenty of weight. Watch what's coming in. This goldenrod will be coming in here soon. It'll be stinking, smelling like dirty socks. And just keep another big thing is just keep hefting your hives, just lifting up on the back of them, see how heavy they are, and making sure they're getting heavier every day. But there's still time, you know, all the way up till it starts freezing. We can put sugar water in there, start feeding 2 to 1, and get them filled up. So as long as we got plenty of time to get stuff done. A lot of people are saying it's getting late on the mite counts, which I don't think it is. I think we'd be doing pretty good to get them treated now. So, but you do need to be looking at your mite count and looking at where your hives are, and start doing winter prep time, getting the honey supers off. All that stuff needs to be starting to happen now. So got any questions, leave them below. I'd be glad to answer them or take any advice you might have. Just let me know. All right, see you on the next one.